Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
You always want the best for your family, and that means only Eggland's Best Eggs in your kitchen. Compared to ordinary eggs, Eggland's Best Eggs contain 6 times more vitamin D, 25% less saturated fat, more than double the omega-3s, 10 times more vitamin E, and more than double the vitamin B12. So why give your family less when they can have the best? Add Eggland's Best Superior Nutrition to your next grocery list. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast, Kevin and Chuck. Today, we're going to talk about, I guess, bug out trailers. I don't know, what I was thinking about is, I was thinking about the Old West, the different things, and when they would go to, like, brave the new world, you know, they're heading out west, the covered wagon, and what would they take? Well, more than bugging out, more than your bug out bag, I wonder, like, you know, if you're going to start the world and it's kind of planned, or, you know, you kind of have been preparing and prepping and you're like, you know, I live in New York City or I live in LA or, you know, whatever. And I need to go because if I stay in the city, I'm going to die. So I was like, well, what could I do to prepare for that? Like, what would I take? And I was thinking, you know, I wonder what the people with the covered wagon, you know, what did they take? Because these are people who did it and survived. You know, they're what made America. They're the ones that built the empire that we have today, made everything great and exciting and, you know, just awesome. So what can we do to create the new world and really be prepared if we're bugging out? So this isn't like staging your homestead. Like, I understand a lot of us have, like, a bug-out location. Mm-hmm. This is more the idea of, you know what? I'm going to whatever national forest or I have a campsite somewhere out there. But what are you taking when you got to do everything yourself?
Starting from scratch.
Right.
So, and, you know, a lot of the pioneers, that was basically what they're doing. They're leaving everything behind and only taking...
cutting out a new world.
Yep. And they said the high-end, heavy-duty covered wagons could carry up to 10 tons.
10 tons. I can never relate. What is
it's
a ton?
A lot.
Tons a lot? That's what we're going with?
It's a lot.
I always go to the bridge, and it's like 5 tons, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's 2,000 pounds times 10.
Yeah? Okay. Mm-hmm. So, there you go.
Now, generally, a covered wagon would carry enough to sustain 5 people.
Okay.
That's what you're going to when you're packing your covered wagon.
All right.
Now, most modern vehicles, even you know, like a Suburban or something bigger like that, you're carrying only 5 people. I don't know if you'd be able to fit enough, you know, stuff for 5 people to survive and set up.
Well, now we got iPads and, you know, all this stuff we got to carry. You know what I have is that camouflage recliner, like Easy Boy with the arm thing. You got to fit that in there.
Well, the truth is, when I was looking at some of these covered wagons, a lot of them were bringing, like, chairs with them, like furniture. They had to build the house, but they had the furniture all
You always see, like, the
set.
rocking chair up on top.
Uh-huh.
And, like, the big dresser.
Right.
But if you load that dresser with shit,
mm-hmm.
but maybe the good tools for starting over. So, I guess the way I was thinking about approaching this is, you know, let's look at what they brought and then maybe what we would bring as the modern day equivalent.
Right.
Now, the idea, I was looking at one on, like, the Oregon Trail was one of the websites that came up, and they talked about what your typical person, you know, would bring and whatever. They said it actually wasn't typically that expensive. what to load up their wagon, with
Right.
what they would have. They said it'd be like 1 or 2 wagons for like, and they would take like 6 or 7 cows.
Right.
Usually
right. That
a
was
milk
part of
cow,
their food port,
and then an
source.
oxen.
Yeah.
Um,
one interesting thing I read about the cows, they said they would take the heavy milk, and they would just leave it in the wagon as they drove, and it would
and
turn
it would turn
it
into
would,
butter.
Yeah, it would churn it itself,
I've heard such.
and they
things.
would just skim off the top of it.
Now, I don't know that that's maybe practical, to load up. I mean, you've got a big
Yeah.
trailer to take some cows with you, right?
Right.
But there's some other ways to do it. I mean, they didn't have My Patriot Supply
That's right.
where they could buy a year's worth of food or, something like that.
But in
But
the same
having
sense with that sort of thing, it makes sense to bring, load up. You can get a lot of seeds in a very small area.
We're going to
know.
get to it.
All right.
I think we're going to get to it. But I think as far as livestock, I definitely think if you're really planning, you probably want to bring like at least 5 chickens.
Yeah.
Something
yeah.
like that.
Now, how would you carry the chickens?
No,
How do
you throw them in a
transport 'em?
cage, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
I think the way I would do it is like, those little dog crates.
Mm-hmm.
And you're good just freaking,
Right.
because you think about when you order chicks, like, I don't know, I mail order chicks, actually. They sell them at Tractor Supply and that kind of thing. But when I buy them there, I always find that they don't lay for shit.
Yeah.
I've always had bad luck. So I do all right with, if I buy them from a local farmer. But there's like the website I use is Murray McMurray. Now, they actually make you buy 25 chicks at a
Right.
shot.
Not to be confused with Murray Mayhem.
No, different guy altogether. Right. He has that great, YouTube channel.
Right.
We're talking about something different. So Murray McMurray has like chicks you can buy, whatever. You're not going to be like, oh, the end of the world's coming. Let me mail order my chicks.
Right.
And, that it takes a little time and whatever. But we'll assume you're a prepper. If you live in a world where you can have chicks, now I know that kind of works against my, you're bugging out of New York City thing. Maybe
Yeah.
you don't have some chicks. But whatever. You get some chickens. You're going to throw them in a box. Take about 5 of them with you. That's a minimum. But we're talking about filling up our trailer and our truck and our
Right.
car. We
And
can't
a
take
lot of
the whole world with us.
the pioneers didn't usually bring chickens with them because it was a huge pain in the ass to stop and feed them and water them, make sure they got everything, and then pack them back up. It wouldn't be reasonable.
Modern day,
right?
we're
you
getting
can,
there
you
in
can
2
have
days.
the drips,
3 days.
Yep, you can have all sorts of feeding equipment that's basic there that you can top off at each
and
pit
we're not
stop.
traveling for months and months.
Right.
We're traveling for 2 days. So I also, in this perfect fantasy world where I'm prepping and getting everything out, I'm gonna take at least 3 bunnies.
Rabbits are fantastic.
Boy bunny, couple girl bunnies.
Because the thing about bunnies is they fuck like bunnies.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Like fucking rabbits, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, that's something to think about. That's all the livestock I consider essential. Because bunnies are going to be your meat. We're going to plant some long-term food storage. We're going to get into gardening, seeds, and all that kind of shit in a minute. But, we got bunnies for meat. We got chickens for eggs. Possibly chickens for meat, too. The right kind of chickens, we can definitely get some meat going there. Definitely the bunnies have the quick turnover, though.
Right.
And that's nice. So, furniture, they used to talk about, they would actually sometimes do that. But something heavy you might think about is like a wood stove.
Right.
Wood stove might be cool. You probably don't want to bring the piano, the couch, the easy boy.
Right. But the benefit of bugging out in a vehicle versus a covered wagon is weight really isn't an issue. Size is an issue, but weight isn't an issue. So something heavy like that, and you could even, if you had a new one, you could even pack the inside of the oven with other things.
Right. So this is what they said for like a family of 4. and this is off this Oregon Trail website that I went to. They said like 600 pounds of flour, 120 pounds of biscuit, 400 pounds of bacon, 60 pounds of coffee, 4 pounds of tea, 100 pounds of sugar, 200 pounds of lard.
Right.
Now, the reason I say that is it gives you an idea of what people were thinking about. They're thinking about coffee. Coffee's important. Also makes shitty water taste good. Or palatable. Right?
Right.
You know, it may not be good, but makes shitty water taste better. You are going to need, you know, a way to filter water. You know, but maybe you have the spring and whatever when you get out there. The one thing I looked at was, I honestly, we did an episode way back on drilling your own well. And I would bring the equipment to do that.
Right.
So a well point and basically a couple of, you know, pieces of pipe that are going to, you know, go together. The little cap, you know, you really need to Google or whatever how to do my own
or
well.
go back to the podcast.
But it's easy. Or go back to the old podcast. But the bottom line, a well point is basically a straight piece of like galvanized pipe. And at the end, it has a point on it. And then it has holes or openings to draw in the water above that.
Right.
Basically, you use like a post hole digger. You end up pounding it into the ground. And you just keep threading on the next piece of pipe. And you keep going down. And that's digging a well for you. And then you throw one of those little hand pumps on there.
Right.
And you're good to go. Then you're getting clean, purified water. This is when you're setting up your homestead, you know, out in the woods, that kind of thing. So that's something you could throw probably $250 and be where
set.
you can get nice, clean water ready to go out of a well pump in the woods. That sounds like a pretty good investment to me.
Right. Another thing that they would bring with them is potatoes. Now, potatoes are great, especially for the 2-day trip we're talking about.
Right.
Because potatoes are going to last a week at least, without having to be refrigerated, without having to be, you know, on ice, anything like that. So, I mean, that's a great thing. Now, the pioneers generally we talked about lemons. You know, they'd bake lemonade, whatever, but you need that vitamin C. Now, any kind of fruit you can bring with you is going to give you plenty of that. But a great thing to supplement the food long term is multivitamins.
Nice.
You know, if you're eating nothing but ramen, which I would say throw ramen in there because that's calories and that's small space with a lot of food.
That's calories.
But at the same time, you're going to want to make sure you get all your vitamins with you don't really know. You're not going to be getting vegetables and fruits unless you have an orchard that you're bugging out to.
Right. But again, seeds. The other stuff, like those were the staples that I went through, the flour. I could see you bringing flour. Bacon is awesome because it keeps, they said 120 pounds of biscuits. Bisquick is king.
Right.
Couple of boxes go a long way. You know, the big, you know,
yeah, I've been
Club,
hitting it lately, and it's, 3 or 4 of those
pancakes,
can fill you up.
Whatever, biscuits, whatever. And super easy to make.
Right, just add water. Most of them
add water, throw it in some foil, and you're throwing it right in the fire, and it'll cook right up, and you're good to go, that kind of thing. You know.
But I also love Triscuits.
Triscuits. They sound like biscuit. They taste better. There you go. Right. So, secret of the pros right there. Long-term food storage. You know, if you had a year's supply, bottom line, if you played your cards right, you know, I talked about like the chili mac last week and different things from my Patriot supply. But to be honest, you could have a year's supply for a person for about $1,200. About $100 a month if you play your cards right. But also, you know, it's nothing to go into Sam's Club and buy your 25-pound bags of rice, that kind of thing. So what? You buy 4 bags of freaking rice? You're going to, you know, these stuff is going to buy you a lot of time. Coffee, tea, you need to decide how much you need and, you know, kind of play it by ear. ration it.
They said 60 pounds of coffee.
I
don't know if that'd carry me for.
Yeah, 60 pounds of coffee. Yes,
I don't know if that would
was
carry
4
for
people.
carry
but two
me
of them
more
were
than a
kids
week.
that weren't drinking.
All right,
so that's the way I imagine.
Fair enough.
it, right?
Mm-hmm. Now,
yes,
flour. We talked about that. We mentioned that real quick, but I mean,
They
you
had
need
huge-
to know how to use.
you're
flour
not
to
going to
actually
need
make
maybe
things.
600 pounds of flour if you're buying, some long-term food storage stuff. But
Right.
having
But some yeast is
50
is
pounds of
something that
flour
you might
wouldn't
wanna
be a
throw in
bad
there.
move. Some yeast, like I said, Bisquick gets you around the baking soda and like that kind of thing. The bacon, having the meat already cured kind of thing, as long as it didn't get hot, it would keep. And I don't mean hot like not in the refrigerator. I mean hot.
Right.
80 degrees, something like that. You keep it under that, you're doing all right. There's a lot of they took lard. That was a big thing, Now weapons. Weapons are another.
Real quick before we wrap
getting
up.
away from food?
One thing
No.
that that I think that the pioneers would love would to have one of those big containers of protein powder. You can't get your meat every day, but it's not hard to mix that stuff into some
Protein powder,
water.
your multivitamin, I would say dried fruit.
Dried fruit, yeah.
Dried beef, kind of equivalent of bacon. Vinegar. Eggs are actually decent if you can, buy beforehand and take out.
If you have a egg that was laid with and not washed,
Yes.
like it is in the United States, they wash it. In England, they don't wash them. But if you don't wash
They
them,
always have chicken poo on them when they don't wash.
right, you keep the chicken poo on there.
All right.
What do you get? Maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks
more
out of it.
easy.
Yeah,
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks, 4 weeks.
So I mean, you should be good there, bringing
Again,
dozens
not hot.
and dozens of eggs.
Not hot. But if you room temperature, 72 or below,
right.
I'd say
and if you're
4
in a
weeks
vehicle,
easy.
you're going to have AC. So I mean, that's some of the pluses that they didn't have. At that point.
As soon as they're washed, though, you are courting danger. They do sell like little oil if you look online that you can actually coat them yourself,
Really?
so they don't need to be refrigerated.
Okay.
You could do that, but again, they're already old.
That seems like regular eggs with more steps.
Yes,
All right.
they're already old.
I would recommend finding a source of shit covered eggs
Yeah,
before you leave.
Look
If
for
you
the
don't-
eggs with poo
yeah,
on
if
'em.
you don't have your own chickens,
get your own chicken.
yeah. Or I think I have four people in my neighborhood that are raising chickens. So I mean, I don't know what neighborhood you live in.
The cool
but
thing
keep
is
your eyes open.
Kevin doesn't have chickens, but as he's loading up the car, he
Yes.
could easily
I'm gonna-
put 4 chickens in the car.
Yeah, the first thing I'm gonna do when shit goes down is murder my neighbors.
Oh well, then.
I mean, I'm wanting to murder them now. I don't want to get arrested.
Well-
but I'll murder them and then take all their eggs.
Secret of the pros.
Secret of the pros, right there. If you
Nice.
can't buy it, steal it. I just got somebody shot right there. Getting people killed on this
Getting
podcast.
people
Every
killed.
every
1 week at a
podcast, I'm
time.
killing people.
See, like I said, it's always Kevin that's giving you the get shot advice. All right, no worries. So I guess the next logical step would be seeds. You are going to eventually want to stockpile a garden. A million people offer the survival seed. The government
Right, heirloom stuff and
heirloom, but they also give you the good mix.
Right.
Your cabbages, your lettuce, tomatoes
yeah.
are always
The
a go-to.
important thing to think about when you're planting your first garden is lettuces are great because you can get 2 crops. They grow fast.
Yes.
So you get there in the spring, June comes around and you're starting to run out of food, but you've already got lettuce.
Right. Your root vegetables are going to last long into the fall and that kind of thing. So that's where things like carrots,
potatoes,
and
Yep.
that kind of stuff are really going to pay
So
off.
yeah, I mean, when you think about seeds, think about having a mix that's going to supply you, spring, summer, fall, and things that you can carry into the winter.
Garlic is super easy, but it's also great for keeping pests out of your garden. So if you're mixing garlic within there, so I would say having a lot of garlic, having a lot of potatoes, 'cause potatoes fill bellies.
Right.
And
you know, if you could actually survive on a diet of nothing but potatoes if worse came to worse.
I mean, sure, you might look a little pale. Mm-hmm. You know, nobody will want to be your friend. But,
right. And God
but
forbid
really,
there's no
doesn't
potato
love French fries?
famine. Yes.
Exactly.
Potato chips, love it. Use that lard and fry up some
fries.
potato chips and French fries. Another thing that I think would be great to throw in that food category would be a large amount of salt.
Salt and
For
pepper.
preserving things and for
Pepper,
seasoning things.
A small amount. Salt, a large amount for preserving, for, seasoning, that kind of stuff. You probably want some of like Tony Cheshire's cayenne for the potatoes in the morning. Kevin was just
I like
saying,
Uncle Stubbs.
if we could bring a lot of hot sauce, that would be nice.
Yes. Tabasco is my
But
jam.
again, that's
My
where
girl
that
likes
garlic
sriracha.
pays off. You could make your own hot sauce.
That's right.
Kevin said he was bringing some jalapeno seeds, some habanero peppers.
Yeah, in most places you can get a lot of jalapenos off of one plant, and the plants aren't big. They produce a
I
lot.
gotta tell you, as much as like in New York here, everybody's got the different things that grow in their area, and obviously you're gonna buy seeds appropriate to wherever you're planning on bugging out to,
Right.
so that it's gonna get the best yield. But Kevin did mention heirloom seeds. It's important you buy non-GMO seeds just for the fact that you have the recurring.
Right. You know that you're going to be able to harvest the seeds from the plants.
I'm
and
almost
replant.
torn because genetically modified seeds freaking grow so much better. You
Right.
can just knock out
And
awesome
a lot of them
plants.
actually do produce seeds that you can replant.
Right.
A lot of them do.
It's just no
you have
guarantee.
to be careful. You're right.
Yeah, and
There's no guarantee.
Try your luck. But heirloom seeds, you're going to have the continuity. And the problem is you can't do like half your tomatoes heirloom and half store-bought because they'll get together and make baby seeds.
that
and
are
then
you
you're
don't
gonna
know
have
what's going to
problems.
happen.
So that's always a danger zone. But seeds, potatoes, garlic, that kind of thing, huge. Next thing would be tools.
Right.
What kind of tools
Now, one of the things that the pioneers brought with them, one of the major tools that they brought with them was an axe and a hatchet. Now, that's great, but
I love a
I'm going
good
to bring my
axe.
chainsaw.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin,
well,
are you sticking to the traditions of yesteryear?
I'm not. I'm going to bring my chainsaw. I'm going to bring gallons of mixed fuel. Or the
And
mix
you know
and
what? Mixed
gasoline.
fuel lasts
Yeah.
way
Yeah, it
better
does.
than your other stuff.
I mixed it. My last batch of fuel I mixed last fall.
And
And this fall, I'm using my chainsaw with that fuel.
let me tell you guys a little secret. The one thing, I used to go through chainsaws like every 2 years. The secret of the pros, it turns out when I bought my like steel chainsaw and finally manned up, they were like, yeah, we'll guarantee this forever or 3 years or I don't know what.
Right.
But you can only put synthetic oil in it. And I was like, really? After I started using it, that shit makes it last so much longer.
Really?
The secret of the
I'm
pros.
going to have to try this
And
out.
it costs, you're paying like $2.29 for your gallon mix or whatever
Right.
it is, $1
Instead of
89.
bar
Right.
and chain oil?
No, for the fuel, the mix oil.
Oh, for the mix. All right.
For the mix. So you do the synthetic for the mix, you're never going to have to worry about nothing gunking up. Your chainsaw is always going to start. You're not going to have to clean it.
Oh.
Secret of the pros.
I'm gonna have
right
to.
there.
I'm gonna have to look into this and
And then
get things
this
changed
will
over.
carry over to your weed whacker and all your other mixed fuel things.
Right, you have a lot of stuff that run on mixed fuel, and I
synthetic.
don't know that you need to pack your weed whacker in
But
your bag,
all
but
I
I mean
know,
it's good to
When
know
you're
it.
trying to set up your little log cabin homestead, even if it's like 10 by 10, man, if you had the 5-gallon gas can with mixed fuel and we'll say 2 chainsaws,
No problem.
you're king of the world. And you know how many logs you can cut with 5 gallons of freaking gas?
Have you ever cut logs out of a tree with an axe? It's a goddamn nightmare.
Goddamn nightmare.
You break your damn back and you won't even have enough wood for the night.
I would have to agree with Kevin, the modern day, but bring a nice axe.
Yeah.
bring nice sharpening tools.
Right.
Being
100%
able to
agree
keep
with
your
that.
axe, man, if your axe is sharp, Kevin's like, oh, well, I cut logs and it was a nightmare. But a nice sharp axe makes a big difference.
That's
But
true.
I'm 100% with you on. I'd rather have a chainsaw than that axe any day of the week.
Funny thing just popped in mind. A quote by Abraham Lincoln. He said, "If you give me 5 hours to cut down a tree, I'll spend 4 of them sharpening the axe." It's a procrastination, type of idea. But I like that.
Yeah.
Sharpening it is very important.
No, that sounds right. Next thing, like they talked about, augers, gimlet, hammer is actually a useful tool. A hoe. They had a plow. Plow's not a bad thing. Having the right stuff to break up the dirt is going to be key.
And that's really
That
important
was their
when it comes to
plow
planning.
and their deal.
Right.
And if you have some kind of livestock that can pull and whatever, then a plow is going to make a huge difference. Good shovel, spade, whetstone.
But maybe a rototiller would be something to throw in your trailer.
Yeah. They talked about like shoes for the animals, stuff for the wagon, chains, ropes. Chains and ropes are nice. Being able to move the wood, maybe some pulleys and some leverage happening.
And if you don't have an ox, you do have your vehicle.
Secret of the pros.
Right there.
All right. So, I don't know. That's like, I think that's, chainsaw's key.
Mm-hmm.
I love Rogue hose and tools.
Mm-hmm.
They come super sharp. I know if you buy like a regular garden hoe, like you walk in a Lowe's, the first thing I do is go to my grinder and I put a nice freaking blade on there and I make it like a razor blade.
Right.
It makes such a difference. And then once it's sharp with your grinder, then you don't need electricity. Then you can, from then on.
Keep it sharp. One thing I would recommend is pay attention to the handles that you're using for your shovels, your pickaxe, your hose, all those types of things, those oak handles that generally come with them.
Yeah.
If you don't think that you can craft one by yourself, then maybe buy some extras just to have on hand.
They're nothing. To have an extra 5 handles,
and
nothing.
it takes up no space if you
the
can
ones
pack
that
it
you're
in right.
keeping now, if you keep them oiled and nice, I know my wife had some very nice, expensive garden tools that she chose to leave in the garden into the winter a little bit.
Ooh.
But when I went out and grabbed them, I go in with some oil, some sharpening tools, sharpened it up nice, little sandpaper over the handles, little oil, made it all nice. But you got to take care of your stuff.
Yeah, I
Please.
feel like we should do a whole podcast on just maintaining your tools.
Maintaining your tools. I actually bought I think like a 6-hour audio book. It's like a pamphlet on taking care of your tools. And I was like, I saw it. I was like, first like rage, goes through the head. And I'm like, why'd you do that to me? What are you doing? Do you know that hoe cost me $80? $80. But it was worth it. Like you get it and you're like, oh, this is not like the other hoe I had, but just the same, you don't want to leave it out in the freaking garden.
I've never spent as little as $80 on a hoe, but maybe it's a different type of hoe.
Different type of hoe we're talking about there.
All right.
So there's that. But, so that's a thing. So take care of your tools, but having the right stuff there, really, something to break up the dirt.
Yeah.
Quickly and efficiently. My wife has this weird thing. I don't even know what it is, so I shouldn't have brought it up. But it looks like basically like a pitchfork with like a big bar on either side. I don't know. It's like a market gardener kind of thing, guy. And, but it works great for breaking up the dirt. There's stuff like that. I did mention it in a previous episode about the gardening. So stuff like that matters. I'm going to touch on here. I love, if I'm bugging out, and I'm setting up like a little survival thing. Doesn't matter if it's just me and the wife or whatever, but really anymore, and honestly, even with just you and the wife, having a set of radios to cover everybody
that's a
is
great,
key.
Yep.
Now,
and you can really go cheap and get the kids stuff at Toys R Us.
So
and
here's the deal.
That's gonna do decent in an open area.
I'm pretty cheap. You probably don't know this about me, but the Motorola Talkabout radios, for about like $69, you're buying like a 3-pack. I noticed that they sell them at Sam's Club. That kind of excited me a little bit. But so those you can plug in and charge them with solar.
Yeah.
I know.
And I think that's a big advantage.
I've talked about my
stuff.
EMPs
Right.
stuff and having the container with the EMP stuff. I have a bunch of solar chargers. I have a ton of batteries, and I have a ton of battery chargers for solar. But I also have a bunch of solar chargers that are that'll charge a USB cable. You know, like they have a USB jack, and you plug it into whatever. So that stuff's huge. At least if it's just two of you, 2 radios, if you're going out with like 10 people and you're going to set up a little hippie commune or whatever, then maybe 10 radios.
Right.
And I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I can only charge them in the day, and I have half of them there. I can't charge them at night. I hate to say it, if you don't have a way to pull out the batteries and charge them, you need to have twice as many radios.
Yeah.
So you can have half charging all day and then the other half going, at night or whatever. You need multiple, to carry over.
Right.
So think about that. And if you can figure out, but I can also charge solar batteries, and that's a lot cheaper than buying extra radios, great. Do that.
Right.
I just make sure you have a way to keep them charged 24/7.
And long distance communication is important.
Well, it's not even that. I mean, that's like 5 miles, that kind of thing.
Well, that's long distance when it comes down
but
to.
But that's, somebody goes off on a little exploration or
right.
just even having people out on watch. You can cut the amount of people you need running security in half if you have radios.
Right.
So just think about that.
Another thing on tools I'd like to touch on real quick is repair tools
and
for your vehicle.
Saw. Yeah,
handsaw definitely.
Sorry,
when I go long-term camping, I always bring a handsaw with me because if you can cut big branches off of down trees and drag them back for firewood, handsaw is real easy for that.
Yeah,
and it's lightweight. But what I was going to say is surgical tools. We talk about this sort of stuff, and I know that I'm not a surgeon.
No?
And Chuck's not a surgeon.
No.
But there's basic things we can do.
There
having a scalpel, having tweezers to pull out splinters, which
I think
are a
we
nightmare.
could pull off stitches.
Stitches, right. Maybe you've got a toothache. Do you have a pair of pliers?
I got you.
Right.
I mean, really, the Leatherman is my home surgery kit.
Mm-hmm. And, a sewing kit, we're going to get into clothes and stuff in a minute, but a sewing kit that has quality needles, there's different stuff. I mean, you don't
cut through thick.
You don't want just the regular grade needles. You also want things that you can sew canvas, you can sew stitches, all that stuff.
Buckskin or patches are nice when I talk about sewing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like a little beeswax, believe it or not, you can kind of bring things together there. Definitely extra thread and needles, like Kevin was saying.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good stuff there that you can really, repairs are going to be an issue.
I know when I was in the Navy, it was always an issue getting the bosun on board to actually sew patches on and things like that.
Yeah.
So I got into the habit of just doing my own patches.
Right.
So I, learn to sew.
Have some buttons, have some thread, have some needles.
Buttons, have some thread. Yep, some clasps, some different things that you can repair your coats and things with.
Couple of safety pins.
And like you said, patches are a great thing. These are your jeans when they get worn out. You don't know what you're going to be dealing with. You're not going to be able to buy clothes.
Right.
You're going to have to mend them. Another thing is when we're talking about bugging out with vehicles,
Yeah.
bring some vehicle repair tools. Belts, hoses,
Gorilla tape.
Gorilla tape. Yes, Gorilla tape.
It'll pay off, one, in your homestead, but I've made some hose repairs with Gorilla tape
Right.
that have been huge. I did a radiator hose repair that I ended up leaving for like a month and a half because it worked.
Yeah.
It didn't drip, and I was like, it was funny. I got home. I needed it, for the immediate. Gorilla tape saved the day. Then I got home, and nothing was dripping. So I went out. I bought the appropriate hose. I threw it in the back of my truck, and I was like, I don't have time for
I'll
that now.
replace it when I
But
when
I was
get
like,
to it.
but if it breaks and I'm on the go,
No,
I have
I'm
the
ready.
hose here and I can just deal with it.
And think about the type of vehicle you have. Think about maybe an
Yeah.
extra alternator, an extra starter, extra. A great thing that doesn't take up space that has multi-use is engine oil.
Yes.
So maybe
And like
just
you said,
depending on the vehicle
multi-use.
you have.
It really has other purposes. A
Synthetic.
decent first aid kit. I'm not going to get into that. We don't want to drag this podcast out forever.
But it's something interesting I found.
And beyond first aid kit, think home hospital almost. But
Right.
we've done episodes on that. You guys know what you need.
Right. One thing I read that was interesting on the with the covered wagons.
Yes.
The medicine kit they would bring with them. Generally, it consisted of bandages, patented medicines, which would be like Tylenol and things
Yep.
like that, and then opium and alcohol.
Yeah. They
Now
said
we
rum
don't
and
have
cognac-
access to opium.
Rum and cognac.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You can get some good heroin maybe to bring with you. I don't really know. I don't know what you're into.
All right.
But alcohol, I think that rum and cognac is interesting. But I think better.
They said, the one I read said iron rust, which I don't even know what that is. Is that like rust? Okay.
I have no idea what that is.
Because my truck has that already. I don't even need
Yeah,
to
you just
bring
scrape
it.
some off.
I got that. Don't even worry. They said iron rust, rum and cognac, both for dysentery. Quinine for ague. I don't even know what that means. Epsom salts for fever, and castor oil capsules.
Okay.
And
Now, when I was a youngster,
you were a youngster once?
I was a youngster at
All
one
right.
point, and my mom was a bitch. And
I don't think she'd like to hear that.
she thought that I was malnourished and forced me to drink castor oil.
I look at you and I think, maybe Kevin's malnourished.
Yeah.
You know what?
No,
Next week I'm
I
bringing
did
some castor oil when I come
did
over
some
for
research.
the podcast.
I did some research and found that castor oil does nothing for you.
But was it fun for her?
It was fun for her. Yeah.
Yeah.
It tastes awful though.
All right. Secret.
Throw cod liver oil in there with that in the garbage.
All right.
Um,
Now,
but as far as the medicine cabinet goes, I think bandages and a way to splint a bone. Finding a straight stick is great and all, but there's better ways to do that.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How about cooking? You want to talk about cooking supplies?
Yeah, one of the big things with the Pioneers was a Dutch oven, and that's
I think I bought you a Dutch oven.
I have
Do you have
one.
a Dutch oven?
Yep.
All right.
yep. Every night I use it. I
Well, that's a different kind
pull
of
the
thing.
blankets over my wife's
That's
head.
different altogether.
That's not the same thing.
That's the same thing.
All right. Well, you had a cast iron one that you'd
Yes.
given me, which is great for throwing in a vehicle.
Now, it may be made in China and full of lead. I
Right.
don't know.
Well, you don't want to be carrying cast iron things with you if you're on foot.
Yeah.
But as far as the vehicle goes, anything cast iron is great. 'cause
Cast
it's
iron.
durable.
So Dutch oven is amazing for cooking, and if you guys ever do any outdoor camping, that kind of thing, that might be something you want to try and experiment with a little bit.
Right. Right. One thing that I do as far as cooking when I'm traveling or when I don't have electricity,
Okay.
they have propane. Coleman makes a great propane oven.
But it's
grill.
short term. I want to look long term.
Right. Another great thing though that I picked up is Walmart carries this really lightweight tripod, and it has a chain from the center.
Yes.
And it has a grill on it. So you can adjust the heat by raising and lowering the chain.
Yes.
And I use that every time I go on long-term camping trips.
I
throw steaks on there. You can throw cook anything right on.
I've seen, like, all right, picture the iron grate that you have. I've seen them where for, like, long-term, like putting in your bug-out trailer like we're talking about right now. They make a big full size, like 2 foot long and, 18 inches deep and, stands that fold out and make a great grill. Something like that, maybe even 2, might be worth, having on your vehicle.
And if you're in a rush and you don't have one, you can go grab the grills out of your grill that you have.
You can grab the grates out of your oven.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
right.
take that on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
Say, I'm going to take those 2 grates, and I can set those up on rocks or whatever right over and work out the height. You know what? You're smart enough. You probably figure that out.
Yeah.
And guess what? You're spending $0.
Mm-hmm.
They do for you backpacker, hiker, crazy, have a good time guys. They also make like awesome ones for like $50, $60 about that you can throw in your backpack for going out camping that are small. Kevin talked about the tripod, but there's also like the grates that are just fold out.
Yeah.
And
now when I was 15, I spent a summer in South America.
You're a little strange.
A little strange. It was northern Argentina.
Okay.
And at that point, I didn't know anything about prepping, anything about outdoor survival, anything about anything, really. And I went out. We were out in the woods, pretty far out. I wouldn't say it was the woods. It was more of like a desert type of area.
Okay.
But they call it the jungle. It's not necessarily what I think of as jungle.
That's not your version?
It's a lot of pricker bushes.
Feel like Rambo?
Right. But this older fat woman just
old fat woman
broke out a couple of rocks, got a fire started, and had a fantastic meal cooked in about 15 minutes after that fire got going.
Now, if we're
cooking
being
on a fire is it's a skill to learn how to do.
It is.
I'm getting pretty good at it.
You are
not
pretty-
fantastic, but I'm getting pretty
slick.
good.
So, I mean, kind of the wrap up on that. Definitely love a Dutch oven. I would love to see you guys have an iron skillet. I would love to see you have some decent knives.
Mm-hmm.
You also are going to need some
Pots
tin
and
plates.
pans are
Pots, things to hold and boil water.
right.
I mean, that's a big thing. So some
And
decent,
if you do have to cook over an oven, you're definitely going to want a pot that has a lid.
for
Otherwise, it's going to be
Right.
full of ash.
forks, spoons, and I mean, I know you can kind of make do with some kind of cowboy coffee where you're pouring the
Right.
water in the grounds. But
Fuck that shit.
that said, a coffee that you can percolate kind of thing that you can set on the thing.
And it's great for boiling
A
water,
camping
too.
percolator
Yep.
is freaking awesome. Something you guys might want to consider.
And I would recommend if this is your thing, this isn't, 1880,
No?
get instant coffee. It tastes like crap, but you can make it fast, and it's better than nothing.
You know what you guys might want to think about that you could store a lot of this stuff in is 5-gallon buckets. You can put the flour, the sugar, the whatever inside 5-gallon buckets.
Right. And they're
these are
stackable.
going to pay off later on. You can use them for a million things, including getting and storing water, getting and storing other stuff. You're going to buy some lids when you're putting your flour and stuff in there. There's a lot of good stuff you can do with there. Definitely 5-gallon buckets. That's about it for cooking supplies. What about think about bedding?
Yeah. Now, pioneers, when they did the bedding,
Yeah.
they didn't bring just a blanket. They brought quilts, multi-level, basically a blanket on a blanket on a blanket,
Right.
stitched together with a waterproof casing.
Right. And that'd be like canvas
That's
at
like-
the time.
right.
But that's
But
your-
now you can get the modern-day sleeping bags.
and you can get the little bibby plastic bags, the little different things that
Right.
go around them.
Mm-hmm. And what I'd recommend for cold weather is bring those little foam mats.
Okay.
Sleeping, making a space between you and the ground
The
in
insulation
cold weather
is key.
makes a huge difference.
No, I like that. Also, think about like personal items when we're talking about clothes and stuff too. It's like comb, brush, toothbrush, soap, bars of soap. I mean, they talked about a pound of Castile soap, belt knife, flint, a flint stone per guy. I don't know what they were doing. I guess keep their razors sharp. I don't know.
Yeah.
But think about that kind of thing. Also, but I'm gonna buy the case of bar soap. That's probably gonna be my go-to.
Right. You can get the 10-pack of Dove for
you keep
for
your
a few
hair
bucks.
short. You can, soap for every part of your body.
Right.
I know we learned that in the military. They
I
were like,
only
nobody's
use
using
the
shampoo.
highest grade stuff, though, when it comes to my beard.
Well, you have delicate
I have-
skin too, so
Hey, That's
you need like the
tragedy
Dove
of every,
and the
every white man, But you might want to think about bringing some conditioner with you just for your beard. It's important to keep it soft for the ladies.
I would say at least 2 pair of functional shoes. So you want to leave wearing functional shoes, and you want to have a backup pair per person of functional shoes.
Yeah. And what I think is really great is that they make those hiking boots / sneakers. Those are really versatile.
Yeah.
I wear work boots and hiking boots, and I have sneakers, but you kind of want to have a mix of both.
Yeah. I mean, if you're somebody who's thinking about your feet and whatever, and you shouldn't wear your shoes to death in the normal world, and if you do, that's fine, but have your new pair ready. Like, that's actually honestly the thing that I do is I'm so cheap, I wear my shoes to death, but there is no way I want to get stuck with worn to death shoes starting out in the apocalypse. So I always have my next pair ready to go.
Right. I have my
know
next
that
pair of
sounds
boots in
weird,
the box,
but I'm ready.
unworn on a shelf right now.
I have 2 more that are ready to go.
Right.
Just
I think
in case.
that's an important thing. Wool socks are great, especially for breaking in new shoes because they're a little bit thicker and they have some cushion, so that when you're breaking in the new shoes, you won't be covered with blisters.
Yeah. No, exactly. Next I had I don't know, what did I have next?
Well, how about let's talk about clothes.
All right. Clothes I have. Well, they said typically the guy would bring like 2 wool shirts, 2 wool undershirts. Women would bring 2 wool dresses, 2 pair of drawers,
and wool
4
is great.
pair of wool socks, cotton socks, handkerchiefs, boots, shoes, poncho, whatever.
Right.
But so that's what they were doing. I gotta say, you need at least, I would say a minimum 3. I would shoot for 4 or 5 functional pants, be it jeans, Carhartts, something like that.
Carhartts
Something
are
tough.
great. Yeah.
That are going to last. Your Carhartts are a little thicker. You probably get away with 3 pair of Carhartt jeans versus maybe 4 of jeans. And if they're stretchy little like girl jeans, then
They're
you
gonna
might
wear
need
out
like
fast.
6 pair, you know.
I know that when I have the stretchy jeans,
And you can
the
even go
crotch
buy-
always wears out immediately.
You can go buy like the cheap like Dickie stuff. The material's pretty thick. It's going to last. That's
Right.
maybe the way
and
you're
if you
going to
can
go.
get some durable pants that are cargo pants are, in my experience, beneficial if you're traveling light.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, I mean, there's a lot of things to think about there. Next, I would say we need some kind of, like, maybe solar panels or anything you want to do there. If you think you're totally off-grid guy and you want to do, nothing, that's up to you. But, I don't know. At a minimum, I would like to see some kind of solar battery chargers and flashlights.
Yeah. Well, you're going to definitely need lighting. And candles are fine. That's great. A lantern is fine that runs off oil. That's what pioneers used. This is 2019. I mean, I'm a modern man.
Modern man.
There's a lot of LED light options.
Very low
flashlights.
wattage. Yeah.
Right. I like headlamps because they're great. You can keep your hands free and still see what you're doing. So I probably have 20 or 30 flashlights and headlamps just around the house. In the bedroom nightstand, in the in the kitchen, stationed around the house. Everybody has one in their room, for power outages and things. But when you're out in the woods, out in the dark, outside of your vehicle when you're moving from place to place,
right,
you're going to need something to see where you're going when you go to the bathroom.
Exactly. I also have, like, on your weapon lights, they have those CR123, the little short, fat ones.
Right.
Those, I actually found those on Amazon, I think, where they actually have, you can plug in a USB charger to it. So it's, like, in the body of the battery and charge those up off your solar panels.
Right.
And being able to have the little spotlight strobe light on your weapon, nice to have. And again, all this stuff, I mean, we're talking about a lot of different things with solar chargers. So make sure you
maybe think about
spend some
looking
money
into
on
some
solar. But
Yep.
the thing is, for about $300, you can buy a decent amount of solar charging. And
Right, and just make sure you have converters to charge up the things that you want to charge up.
And that's, a lot of them will go right to USB jacks.
Right.
Some of them might need to be for your batteries.
And I have some basic solar chargers that have USB plugs, but you also have to think about making sure the things that you want to have charged up have USB adaptable jacks.
And if you do go to AA, AAA batteries, whatever, that kind of thing, I recommend N-Loop. Is a great brand. They actually are a little more durable. If you buy, like a lot of, like, Sam's Club has, like, lighting and little solar things, you'll find, and like Sunforce make the great, like, little motion sensor floodlights, that kind of thing, with their own solar panel. A lot of them actually have batteries inside. If you buy the N-Loop batteries, throw them in there and throw out the ones that are in there, they'll work a lot better for you, more long-term, and they can handle being charged over and over again. You might find you have better success. Next thing I want to cover is weapons. Weapons and ammo.
Right. Now, that was a big deal with the Pioneers.
They took it seriously, and I think you should too.
Self-defense and hunting are both important things that you're going to need.
Guns, knives, you know what I like? A decent hunting rifle. I gotta say, a Remington 700. I actually like the 700 SPS, special purpose tactical. But whatever, makes a great hunting rifle. Something like, maybe think 308, bigger cartridge. You know how I feel about AR-15s, but also a little redundancy, and having stuff that's interchangeable for person to person. Ammo that's interchangeable is nice. Also, learning to be a good shot and knowing how to use it is going to make a big difference too.
That's probably the highest thing on the list when it comes to weapons. If you can use your weapon proficiently, that makes all the difference.
Being able to shoot the bad guy with one bullet instead of 5, guess what? You need to store a fifth of the amount of ammo that the other guy does. So,
and
something to think about.
They had brought, a lot of the Pioneers brought shotguns, and shotguns are great, especially bird shot and things like that for hunting. Great. But you don't have a lot of range with that sort of stuff. So you can double up with slugs and bird shot.
22s are great for small game. Believe it or not, the Gammo guns are great for small game, especially if you're a decent shot. I was able to sight in my Gammo gun. I think it was like the Wildcat or the Bobcat or something. I don't know what the fuck it was. But I was able to sight it in where I have no problem, tagging squirrels or that kind of thing. And consistent. They're super quiet. Bullets are next to nothing. I think I pay $14 for 1,000 rounds, something like that. You want to step up to a 22, that's fine, but it makes a little more noise. There are subsonic rounds for pretty inexpensive as well, something to consider. I know they didn't make a difference in my handguns, but as far as rifle, they actually are a lot quieter.
And with things like defense and hunting, you can really forget about handguns. Unless you're in close quarters, a handgun isn't really much use.
No, that wouldn't be my priority.
But as far as as far as self-defense goes, we should talk about a little bit about circling the wagons.
Tell me about that.
A lot of the vehicles that you're going to be bugging out with, you can put a snowplow on there. You can put a brush guard on there. Think about ramming shit. Think about running people over. Bring spare tires, but think about what you can do to harden your vehicle. I saw one person that had set up they got an old city bus and removed all the seats.
Yeah.
And then put a snowplow on the front of it. I mean, you get a bus like that going, the amount of storage that you have, plus the amount of power you have to push through anything that you're going to get stuck in, I think that's a huge benefit. Four-wheel drive is really important, too. You don't want to end up stuck in the mud while somebody's shooting at you.
No, exactly. So, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Get your bug-out vehicle. Now, I actually was thinking about talking about different types of trailers, but I feel like we may have been talking a lot. I don't know. I feel like we got a lot covered. Having a good, reliable trailer, think about something sturdy. Think about, like, decent tires on there. I'm not saying you need to spend money and get crazy. I'm just saying they shouldn't be dry rot, old, nothing, or at least have this spare tire. Because if you're loading up all this weight and it's something that's been sitting in the backyard for 20 years and you haven't touched it and you're like, oh, now I'm going to go bug out with this thing, you might want to consider some fresh tires. That extra $150, but arriving at your destination might be a good idea. There's a lot of really cool trailers out there that come with a camper setup and different things on there. You get into a little bit more money with that kind of thing. There's nothing wrong with a horse trailer, something like that. You also don't want it to look like, hey, I'm bugging out. I am totally prepared. I have so much great equipment to survive the apocalypse. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be advertising, hey, look at me. You need something reliable and sturdy, but something you can put a little bit of weight in and, get you to where you're going.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, we also talked about, like the wagon train.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the times they would, pioneers would group together in big groups.
Yes.
And they didn't actually drive a train like in a straight line because apparently the dust was an issue. But they'd stick together. So if you can spread things out, maybe you have two vehicles. Maybe your son-in-law or your daughter has a vehicle of their own.
Right.
Bring
your
a
wife
caravan.
loaded up the car, right.
I was going from Philadelphia to New Jersey when I was in the Navy. I was moving with two other guys, and we just basically did road trip. They each had their own vehicle, and I was in the back bringing up the rear, and some asshole cut me off. Between the three of us, we fucked with him for about 15 miles. Just about ran him off the road. When you have, when you're split up like that with different vehicles, a lot of the times people will single you out, not realizing that you have backup with you.
Right.
And that's a big deal, And
having the communication like we talked about. Right. Throwing the radios, one in each car. How cool are you then? And knowing how to use it. Just spend 10 minutes with the radios after you buy them.
Right.
Actually talk to people. Learn about the different channels or,
We're so used to using cell phones. But, people have been using CBs for,
The
decades.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Yes.
I mean, how often has Crazy Cooter been there?
Cooter knows what's up.
There you go. So, just realize there's options and there's different things, to stepping up your game. Now, speaking of stepping up your game, that Tac Pack has been around for a little while. They've been a sponsor of this show. They've been taking care of us. And it turns out quite a few of you have actually signed up and got a subscription.
Right.
And with that, turns out they have a little bit more buying power now,
Mm-hmm.
and they're able to really, pull in some great deals and get some good things that you guys might be interested in. A lot of AR-15 gear, a lot of stuff for the gun guy.
Right.
They're looking out for you. So for $49.95 a month, they'll send you a monthly pack of premium choice selected AR-15 parts, survival gear, different stuff that they're able to get the great deals on, and they pick and choose. These are tactical professionals who are able to pick out the right gear for, that's going to pay off. So
we had one thing that I've noticed that I really enjoyed with Tac Pack is that every month I get a new knife. And I
do like a good knife.
I've got knives, sheepfoot knives great for cutting, different Bowie knives.
I believe there was a SOG multi-tool recently.
I have a plethora. And I've always been somebody that likes a good survival knife and a good pocket knife. Great.
Excellent.
Perfect. But I've had my eyes opened to so many other possibilities. Knives with different types of functions, different uses, and that's one thing I really enjoy with them every month.
They take care.
Every month there's a new bladed instrument.
They take care of you. So you use the code BADASS.
Mm-hmm.
Let them know that we referred you, and by doing that, they're going to hook you up with a free gun cleaning mat because our brand buys you a little something extra.
Mm-hmm.
And, they might take care of you. So something to think about. Also, one of our listeners actually was going to help us out. And I don't know if the last episode we mentioned, if you guys go and share your favorite Survival and Basic Badass podcast episode on Facebook or wherever you share things with your friends.
And
I'll tell you what, even if you go and tell your buddy, hey, check out the Survival and Basic Badass podcast. I loved this episode. That's enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
Then send us an email at preppingbadass@gmail.com.
We'll take your word for it.
We'll take your word for it that you help spread the word.
Now, I also want to mention, if you guys have a YouTube channel,
okay,
you can link us, but you can also post any of our YouTube videos on your channel. We're not going to ask for any compensation.
No, that's
We're not going to complain that you're using our stuff. You can post any of our episodes on your YouTube
channel. Share the love, if you will.
Yeah. Do right by you by doing right by us.
And if there's something you'd like to see us do on YouTube, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin's got some new shirts he wanted to show off. He got for Christmas.
That's right.
He looked extra handsome. His beard's coming in a little bit.
Right.
He wanted,
covering
you
up the patches. I had lost some beard hair from syphilis, but the patches are starting to fill back in.
So if you got something you want us to talk about, we could maybe work something out.
Yeah. Another thing that we've been working on with lately is Freedom Whiskey. The Freedom Whiskey Company.
We did drink some whiskey
We did
tonight.
drink some whiskey. Yeah, it was superb.
It is a nice smooth blend. I do like the Freedom Whiskey.
It's fantastic.
Now, what we were going to say with the, if you share the love about the podcast and you email us, we will send you out a Prepping Badass, a Tac Pack gun cleaning mat.
Mm-hmm.
Courtesy of, we're working with, our friends out there.
Right.
And we will take care of you. So share the love on that. Also, even if you don't want a gun cleaning mat, share the love about the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
The guy from the Beard Show, he was like, oh, my bartender told me about it. If you're a bartender, why aren't you telling your customers about the Survival and Basic Badass podcast? That's what I'm talking about. You can also help us out by leaving a review on iTunes, or maybe you just want to share the love and support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/preppingbadass.
Yeah, now we try and keep a lot of the podcasts I listen to
are awesome.
They'll interrupt in the middle of the episode to do commercials.
We're pretty good about that.
They'll spend 15 minutes doing commercials in the beginning that I have to skip
my
through.
experience is now
we don't do a lot of commercials.
Shutting off the episode 5 minutes ago, so they didn't have to hear this.
They didn't have to hear the commercials.
But this is
We
when
do-
the real gold
Yeah,
happens.
we really do our best to keep the commercials down to a minimum.
Very minimum.
So donating to Patreon is a
Helps
great way to keep us
the light on.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Kevin does use LED bulbs. However,
However,
it still takes a little bit.
I still get electric bills.
He still gets an electric bill,
Mm-hmm.
and this is New York, so
That's right. So if you guys want to email us on any ideas, email us at preppingbadass.com. I try and get back within a week at most.
and if you're working on something awesome and you want to tell Kevin about it, there's a good chance we're going to talk about it here.
Right.
If you're like,
Let
you know
me
what?
know.
I make custom assless chaps
Right.
that are awesome for preppers.
I will tell people to buy a pair, and I will buy a pair myself.
There you go. So, I mean, whatever it is that you're all about,
Yeah.
if
Whatever
you, wanna
you
share
do
it
at
with us,
home, if you're starting a business where you make things at home, make custom made things, if you do anything like that, let us know. We're not going to charge you anything. We'll
we're a
give you a
community.
shout out.
We're here to work with
Yeah,
you.
we'll connect your website.
Maybe you want an awesome sheath like from Spanny Blades.
Spanny Blades makes some fantastic sheaths and customizes some
He
fantastic
actually made one
knives.
for the badasses one day.
Right.
So-
I still have it. It's fantastic.
Fantastic. So, with that, stay safe, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
The Survival and Basic Badass Podcast is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.